Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Today, I wanted to speak about the topic of reducing suffering in the world. It's probably a bit clickbaitish and sounds quite grand and fancy, but I don't intend to make it that way. We would all, not all of us can be NGO founders and work for non-profits or volunteer on our weekends and everything because that is what we usually think about when we think about reducing suffering in the world, right? When we want to do something for the world, it's always about, we always have these grand ideas that, okay, I'll go save some kids in Africa, or every weekend I will go out and I will volunteer. I will do volunteer work. I will uh, go out and distribute food and blankets and to poor and so on and so forth. And of course, all of that is a fantastic way to do that to reduce suffering in the world, but it's not possible. It's not always possible for all of us to be able to do that. But I do believe that there are other things that we can do that can surely help the world out in ways that may or may not be so obvious to us, and and in ways that are not so outright but are slightly more subtle. So I wanted to begin by speaking about the three types of suffering. So these are physical suffering, mental suffering, and then of course there's spiritual suffering. There can be a lot more, so maybe you can put emotional suffering in there somewhere as well. But for now, let's stick to these three for now, and we'll look at each of these. So physical suffering is of course quite straightforward and simple. People who are struggling with hunger, thirst, sickness, illness, accidents, injuries. When we experience those, or other people whosoever experience those things, then there is physical suffering that is happening. Mental suffering can be mental health issues, depression, anxieties, mental abuse, you know, those types of things, grief, having to go through difficult life circumstances that really trouble your mind, and so on. And then, of course, lastly, there's spiritual suffering, which is slightly, again, more subtle and a bit more higher order than these types of things. So maybe feeling a sense of hopelessness or purposelessness in life, not feeling spiritual connection. Maybe you feel like you lack a connection to something beyond yourself, something beyond the world, maybe to the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it. You always feel like a sense of lack within yourself, no matter what you do. So even if you're not suffering from physical ailments, or there, even from a mental health perspective, you're doing quite well, but there can still be some things that, like I said, that feeling of void within yourself, or a feeling of meaninglessness or purposelessness. Oftentimes, those problems and those types of sufferings can only be healed through spiritual means. So these are the three main broad types of sufferings that I described. And what I want to encourage through this video is for all of us to think about where we are in our lives with these things, with these three types of sufferings, and where we can first and foremost heal or help ourselves. And then maybe once we have done those things, how we may be able to help out others as well. As you know, my YouTube channel and the things I speak about and discuss are usually related to spirituality and meditation, yoga, philosophy, things like that. So more of my focus will obviously be towards spiritual suffering, and the purpose of my channel and the videos I make, the things I share and speak about, is exactly just that, to help reduce spiritual suffering in the world, so to speak. Because in my life, I know I have struggled with it quite a bit. And discovering yoga, discovering meditation, having a regular daily practice, having the book access to the books that I read on a regular basis, the teachings that are shared with me, all the practices that I do there that have had a profound impact for me in my life. And yeah, I mean, the goal for me is mostly just to speak about those things, share those things. So whosoever maybe resonates with them, then they can come along, and yeah, hopefully it helps them out as well. So, but even if you are someone who is maybe not interested in these types of things, I would still encourage you to at least think about the other two aspects, so physical and mental. I think those are relatively straightforward, and we can all try to do little bits and pieces here and there to maybe help people out. And again, like I said, it doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be too huge or anything, but it can also be subtle ways of helping maybe even the people who are just around us, maybe our friends and family. Maybe you want to call up a friend who you haven't spoken to in a long time. Maybe you want to meet them up and just catch up, speak about things, speak about problems that you may be having, listen to them and the issues that they may be facing. A lot of times, people look for things. They often think about the things that they can get out of interactions and friendships and so on. But what I want to encourage, and again, the kind of thinking that I want you to maybe try out is, trying to be there for people. And instead of going into an interaction thinking, what am I getting out of it? How much fun can we have, or whatever? Instead of bringing an energy or a mindset of, like I said, being there for someone. So, for example, I went out for a drive with my friend last night, and it was just the two of us. We drove around, so an hour or 2 hours or so. We were out. We went to a beach. We spoke a lot, and for the most part, he was just venting and about the problems that he was having. And yeah, I mean, I knew that there were some issues that he was facing, and that is why I wanted to do that as well with him, because just so he can have that space just to share whatever is on his mind. And yeah, I literally didn't go in with any other intention except for the fact to be there for him in that sense. And these are little things that all of us can do with the people who are close to us and with the people that are in our lives. I've often had, for some reason, I like to joke about this, um, but so I've had a lot of friends who actually come from abusive families and abusive situations, and a lot of difficult situations. Somehow I tend to apparently attract these kinds of friends to myself, but I like it. It's because, again, I always look at these friendships as opportunities to be there for those types of people, to help them out, help them get things off of their chest, maybe give them suggestions or ways in which they can do things better. What anything, I mean, it's obviously very situation dependent, but yeah, you get the point, right? And having gone through those experiences, I personally feel that those friendships, I am very glad and grateful that I was able to have those experiences with those people, and that I was just able to provide them with the help and support that they needed at the time. Are we best of friends today? No. Are we still in touch? Not that much, not really. I've had a lot of friends come and go, and a lot of these again who have been in abusive situations, who have I have tried my best to help them out in ways, whatever ways I could. But I didn't go in with the motivation that okay, I want this person to now be my best friend for the rest of my life. Uh, with the motivation that okay, I want us to be in touch forever, and I want them to be available to me whenever I want them, and all those types of things. I didn't care about those, but I'm still very glad and grateful that for whatever time that we were together, whatever time we were able to have together, I was able to be of help, of service to them in whatever little way I could. So those are just a few examples, and of course, I think this will all be more like mental suffering, maybe even physical, because some people who were going through physically difficult situations as well. But yeah, I mean, most for the most part, this went into the realm of mental suffering because these people, they had mental health issues, depression, anxieties, um, abusive family situations, and all those types of things. And whatever I knew about mental health and psychology or whatever, because I like these things. I find them interesting. Of course, I'm not an expert or anything, but in whatever ways I was able to help them out, I am glad that I was able to do that. And I think that is the kind of thinking or mindset that I want to encourage with this video as well. That maybe in your own life, think about how you can be of help to the people who are around you, or to the people who are close to you, how you can listen to them, how you can help them out. Again, it's not always about providing a solution and just solving the problem immediately and whatever. Oftentimes, it's just about being there for someone, listening to them, giving them the space to, and allowing them to experience whatever they're experiencing. And yeah, I think that can also oftentimes be profoundly healing, in my experience at least. So yeah, I think that's something I want you to think about and encourage. And the other thing, of course, is spiritual suffering, which, like I said earlier, can only be resolved through spiritual means, through yoga, through meditation, and so on. And the first step is always to heal yourself and to resolve your own physical, mental, and spiritual suffering, and emotional as well, if we want to put it there. But having that in as well. So I would always want to encourage everyone to start meditating as soon as they can and as much as they can. But I know most people don't do it, so I don't go around bothering them too much. But yeah, if you're someone who is interested in meditation and yoga or philosophy, please do start getting into that, get involved with that, whatever ways you can. You can get in touch with me. I think you'll find my Instagram handles and everything in the description. Feel free to reach out to me. I've got some guided meditation videos. I will be posting more stuff as well. I know I'm not very regular, and I do feel bad about that. But yeah, I will try my best with those types of things. But for someone, if you have even some interest in it, I highly encourage you to start doing something regularly, be a bit more disciplined with it. Because, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you just simply resolve your, even if you just simply resolve your own suffering, that will also end up going a long way. Before thinking about how you can go out and become the next messiah for the world or whatever, instead of thinking that I or I'll start the next big NGO and I will save hundreds of thousands of people and I will raise all this money with which I will do so much good. I'll save the environment, I'll go vegan, but whatever. Instead of thinking about all those grand, great things that you want to do with your life and with your time, I would encourage you to think about the little things, the little ways in which you can help the world out with, like I said, maybe having a regular, stable meditation routine, maybe going to a therapist and, figuring out your own mental health issues and healing yourself through that. Maybe exercising regularly to make your body better such that you don't have annoying backaches or neck pains or whatever it is that you're struggling with. And of course the tiny ways in which you can help out your family and friends and all those other people who are around you, who you are supposed to care for. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this is some food for thought for you, and stay tuned for the next one. Goodbye and take care.